Hey, my name is Terria. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. I help aspiring providers start an adult day program serving adults with intellectual disabilities. Today, I want to talk about the three requirements for the license and approval. So, what are the three requirements that's needed to be approved by state licensing? Number one, you need to have a suitable financial projection. So that means you need to have your right reimbursement rates. I always say get to know your reimbursement rates. Number two, you need to have the right number of participants. Number three, you need to make sure you have your right revenue. Number four, you need to make sure you have the right number of employees to make sure you can properly serve the number of participants that are in your financial projection. And lastly, you need to have the right operating expenses, which means whatever you say your operating expenses are, they need to make sure they cover all your state required needs for the services you are providing. Number two, you need to have a suitable location. I help new providers start a facility based adult day program, which means you need to have a facility, which means you need to have a location. Okay, so the following must be suitable for the participants' needs. So you need to have the right area. So if you're serving individuals that require public transportation, RTC, or whatever your public transportation name is for adults with disabilities, you need to make sure it's in a location where the services are provided. You need to make sure you have the right zoning. So, we're starting an adult day program. You need to make sure the building that you have is coded for that usage. Now, there are special permits that you can use, but that just delays the process. So, make sure if that's something you're planning on doing, you add that into your process because in order to be approved for state licensing, it needs to make sure that it meets the zoning. And then the following must be in alignment with your financial projection. So you need to have the right base rent. So the state is going to look to see what your budget is, what you budgeted for rent, and make sure that the location you secured is within that budget. You need to make sure you have the right capacity. So within your financial projection, you've noted you're going to have a certain amount of individuals and a certain amount of staff. So you need to make sure your building can fit the capacity of that number. You need to have the right floor plan design. So if your services are providing individuals that have wheelchairs, individuals that need certain things like changing tables or whatever the need is, make sure your facility is designed and the floor plan is designed so that it can be equipped to add those things or to equip a wheelchair to come in and out. You need to have the right number of toilets or sinks. So most states require you to have a certain amount of toilets to serve a certain amount of individuals. So if you're saying you're going to serve, for example, 20 individuals and your state requires you to have 10 toilets per individuals, you need to at least have 2 toilets. Okay, so lastly, acceptable policies. So you need to have acceptable policies in order to be approved for the licensing, which means your policies need to match your state standards of services. So if you don't know what your state standards of services are, you need to definitely research that because it's going to really dictate the services you provide. It's going to really dictate your policy and procedures. So your policy and procedures need to match your state standard of services, and you need to provide all the required policy and procedures. So if your application process says you need to provide 20 policy and procedures attached to your application, you need to make sure you have all your policy and procedures completed and done and attached with that application in order to be approved for licensing. So I hope that was helpful. If you are somebody that's planning on starting a licensed facility-based adult day program serving adults with intellectual disability, I will attach a link below. Reach out to me. Let me see if you're a good fit for my program. See you guys next time. Bye.